Do a barrel roll!
You might be so nose-deep in Battlefield 1 that you've totally forgotten that Titanfall 2 is coming out next week, but we haven't. It's been more than 2.5 years since the first game came out, unleashing its unique brand of mobility-based mech battling gameplay on gamers everywhere, and now the wait for the next round is nearly over. Titanfall 2 releases on PC, Xbox One, and PS4 on October 28th, and here's everything you need to know about the game before you pick it up. If you're somehow unaware, Titanfall is a shooter with an emphasis on player movement. Players have a number of options to traverse battlegrounds quickly, like grappling hooks and wall running, plus larger-than-life titans, which are huge mech robots that join players in battle. Titanfall 2 promises to offer more of the same, but it also stands to be a much bigger game than its predecessor, and that's due in part to the scope of its release. It's not just an Xbox and PC exclusive anymore, plus its expanded multiplayer and the inclusion of a single-player campaign, the first ever for the series. So let's start with that single-player campaign because that's probably the biggest difference between this and the first game. Since the first game was multiplayer-centric, we actually don't know a whole lot about the Titanfall universe, like what year the games take place in even, but we do know that most of the game's action takes place in what's known as the Frontier, the deep edges of explored space. The Frontier is basically like the Wild West of space and full of all kinds of precious resources, which has led to some rather greedy industrialist types to take advantage of its uncharted solar systems in search of maximum profit. The most notorious and powerful among these is the Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation, or IMC, a huge conglomerate that also happens to have its own private army, of course it does, complete with robots called Titans and a penchant for using them illegally. To combat hostile groups like the IMC, the collective governments of the Frontier banded together to form the Frontier Militia in order to keep them on the up and up. However, the IMC didn't take too kindly to having their operations interrupted, so a full-on conflict broke out between the two, known as the Titan Wars. The single-player campaign of Titanfall 2 focuses on one militia soldier in particular, a rifleman with the most generic name ever, Jack Cooper. You're gonna forget it immediately. Cooper dreams of being a pilot, a dream which he's thrust into rather abruptly because he ends up stranded on an alien planet behind enemy lines with his former squadmates Titan. The campaign of Titanfall 2 follows the adventures of Cooper and BT-7274, a veteran Vanguard-class Titan, as they struggle to fight the IMC. Just about every developer insists that their game is going to be unique, and Respawn is no different when it comes to Titanfall 2. The team seems to have put special care and consideration into Titanfall 2's story, with a focus on open environments, variety in gameplay like platforming and stealth sequences, and even enormous memorable boss fights against other Titans and their pilots. Respawn actually says that Titanfall 2 will not just be another run-of-the-mill corridor shooter, instead it will be a personal story about a dude and his Titan bro. As you progress through the game, BT will gain access to the schematics of the game's various Titans, which will allow you to upgrade and customize him on the fly depending on what you need to tackle a particular situation. This is apparently going to lend itself to solving puzzles in the campaign as well. From a number of press previews and Respawn's own statement about why they didn't release a beta on the PC, there are a number of huge twists and turns in the campaign, many of which Respawn has been trying to keep under wraps, so we'll see if they actually deliver on that one. Of course, one of the other big things to know about Titanfall 2 would have to be its multiplayer, which was the main and really only draw of the first game in the franchise. In terms of what's different from the first game, the most notable addition would have to be the new Titan classes. Titanfall 2 will have 6 new classes altogether, each with its own specialty. Ronin Titans are the Titans that carry enormous Final Fantasy-esque swords, Ions shoot giant lasers from their chests, Legions carry around gigantic miniguns, the North Star Titan flies around with a sniper rifle and doesn't afraid of anything. Tone locks onto enemies and unleashes a barrage of rockets, and Scorch holds the line with various fire capabilities. In the vein of fleshing out the multiplayer more than the first time around, Titanfall 2 will also feature some brand new gameplay modes in addition to the classic ones. The standout fan favorite mode from Titanfall 1, Attrition, will be back in Titanfall 2, pitting players against other players as well as AI creeps. The AI creeps will also be present in a new mode called Bounty Hunt, which mixes the attrition flavor up by offering bounties for specific types of kills, which must then be deposited back at your base in order to collect more cash than the opposing team. Titanfall 2 will also offer more traditional modes like Capture the Flag plus Hardpoint, which has players gaining points by controlling certain points on the map, and last but not least, Titanfall 2 also sports some other Titan on Titan action like a Last Man Standing mode, plus the Coliseum, which lets you duke it out with another Titan mano a mano, or mecho, I guess. Another cool thing to know about Titanfall 2 multiplayer is that it won't be subject to the current BS of the video game industry known as season passes. In fact, just about all of Titanfall 2's substantial post-launch content is going to be free for all players, including new maps and modes, which is actually pretty damn cool. In addition to decking out your Titan class of choice, players will also be able to customize themselves visually, plus gain new abilities, weapons, and equipment as they progress through the game's ranks. And then, of course, last but not least, let's talk about the PC version of Titanfall 2, which is supposedly going to get some special treatment. According to Respawn, the PC version is going to run in 4K, assuming your computer can support that, and includes an Ultra 4K 60 FPS mode with a number of PC-friendly options like uncapped FPS, although that tops out at 144 FPS apparently, so not all that uncapped, right? Fully remappable key bindings, gamepad support, and the ability to enable or disable mouse acceleration. They've actually got an entire page devoted to the game's PC players, which should answer just about any and every question you could possibly have regarding your rig and how it will be able to handle Titanfall 2. So, that caps our know before you go for Titanfall 2. Are you planning on picking the game up? Let us know in the comments, and check out some other videos in our Know Before You Go series before you go shopping.
He was never meant to be my Titan.
We're gonna make it out of this, BT. Hang in there.
Copy that, pilot.
And I never planned to be his pilot.